All right, I think we're ready for our next installment of putting this back together. And we got the wind blowing on us. I took the time to reconfigure the blue fan so it's pointed towards me, so hopefully that doesn't mess with the audio, but I gotta be comfortable. So we're gonna get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, Ross the Oliver Man, 1655. Got the block stripped down of the sleeves and gave it its initial cleaning, and we're probably going to have to clean some more, at least some of them, and I'll show you how we tell that. Behind me, I happen to have one of the brand new sleeves. I see as you're going all wonky. One new sleeve, and what we want is we want to drop it in each hole and then be able to spin it. If we can't drop this down in the hole all the way, like that right there is not going all the way, we got more cleaning to do on that hole, and we'll go down the line and check them. See, that one's not quite, that one would, and see, they would probably go if you just tapped them a little, but I don't like that. I want them to be naturally free. See, that one almost goes, but not quite. Give them a little white between each one. See how that one goes in there? And then I can spin it. That's what we want, because right now it has no O-rings on it. There we go, there's another one. Acceptable. This one, not even close. That one's got a lot of issues. So, what do? Well, we do some more cleaning, and we just do some more cleaning and more cleaning and more cleaning until we finally get the condition, just like I showed a minute ago, where it naturally goes on life's way. So I will get the wire whirler thing, and I will start in again, just going around the bottom, the lands where the O-rings will go, and that's usually where our trouble is. So yeah, it's a slow process. This is boring. That's kind of why I thought it needs to be broken up into small video chunks, because people aren't going to want to sit and watch stuff like that. But I will get to cleaning, and I'll bring you back when we can try it again and see, if we got it. Okay, I've been cleaning for a while. Let's do another test and see if we made any improvement. That one is almost there. I can put it in, but I cannot easily turn it. So I gotta do a little more on that one. Same way there. It now goes all the way down, but it does not easily turn. That one's getting there. I think it needs just a slight little bit more. It goes down, and we could turn it, but it wasn't perfect. I want it to be like this, see? How that drops in there and then easily spins. That one should have still been. This one, that one's got a lot of stuff. I didn't really get that one much. I just wanted to test my first few, see what we had. So a little bit more cleaning on these three, and then a lot of cleaning on number 6 hole, and we should be good to go. All right, let's try it now. A little more work on each one. That's what we want. It does have kind of a squawk to it, but basically it turns in there. Some of that's probably me putting pressure against it in a funny way because I got my hand in there, but as long as they drop all the way down and easily spin, you should have your best chance of everything sealing. There's a couple of them I'm not real happy with the way they look down there, but I think it will be fine if we put these in, and then if we have to put some type of stop leak or something in there, it will accumulate around there and stop that problem. But what happens is, I think that water, when it gets like, it forms like calcium deposits or something down in there, and then that's what eats away at your, you know, smooth places in the block. But I think it should be fine because we got a double O-ring, you know, setup, so I think we'll be fine. The big one, that number 1 and number 6 were not playing nice, but that spins in there very easy. We got to pay attention to your protrusion of your sleeves from the top of the block, because that will make your head gasket not seal. So that's why you have to make sure it's clean, so that there's, you know, whatever the specs of the motor is you're working on as far as protrusion go. But I can tell you that this is acceptable. I mean, there's basically no protrusion, if any, just very slight, but it's basically flush. And that's what we want. So, where do we go from here? Well, we put the O-rings on and we start putting the sleeves in. Now, we can sail through this, essentially. I mean, I've got all the pieces. We're not waiting on anything. So, but we still have to take our time. I mean, we can't do something dumb and then end up, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to do something stupid. So, I still have the pan on. I left it on all this time mainly to keep it dirt free in there, but when I took the sleeves out, the extra water was able to fall in the pan, run down to the drain hole and leave, and that was a good thing. It made it a lot easier to deal with. But the time is now to take the pan off. I've got 6 rags down in there covering the crank while this is going on, so they didn't get little pieces of whatever all over the place. But I want to take those rags and stuff them down. In other words, take them out from the bottom so that they pull all the trash out, and then we need to wash it up again really good before we put anything in, because I want to make sure that we don't have something stupid happen and destroy all of our progress so far. So that's where we are. All right, friends, I think we are ready to start putting sleeves in. I've got everything cleaned up about as good as it's gonna go. And so, O-rings. Now sometimes they come with like a brown one and a black one, and then you have to make sure you put them in the right grooves. But I don't think these did. I think these came with just 2 identical O-rings. So we'll just head that way with it, you know. We're gonna put these on. Maybe. Probably gonna struggle. It's nerve-wracking because I don't want to tear up anything. Got those on there. Now, what do you put them in with, you say? Well, I use vegetable oil. It's not as aggressive on them. If you use some of that engine assembly stuff, it can actually eat the O-rings away. So, a nice smattering of good old edible vegetable oil is what I'm after. Now the phone's gonna ring. But I got news for you. I ain't got time for your nonsense. I'm in the middle of something important. Now, we don't want to spin. We want to just push straight down, and it's probably going to take something else to push. I should have been more prepared. There. Just like that. That's all she wrote. Installed. We'll go down the line with that, and then what we'll have to do is we'll have to get some bolts and flat washers to hold these down in while we put everything else in, because we don't want these to pop out whilst we're rolling over the engine. All right. Let's make sure we get our stuff. Nice sleeve and piston assembly in a very fantastically Cosmolini grease something. It's blue, but it does keep stuff nice. And they shipped them with the piston inside the sleeve. So the first thing you gotta do is take that out. Let's do a dry heave here, a dry check. Just, I knew that sleeve would fit in that hole because that's the one I used to do everything. Let's see, like, yeah, that's what I want to make sure. We don't want to have to do this twice. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen though. I mean, like I said, these are pretty vigilant O-rings. They have to be able to stand up to the heating and contracting, you know, while it's running. So they have to be a little bit hardy in order to survive. Otherwise, you would have sadness. We do not want sadness. Ooh, gentle. All right. Get in there. I don't think yeah, that'll work. Meat hammer for the win. The most important thing is not to be spinning while you're pushing down. You want to just push down. You don't want to be having to hammer it, you know, hard as you can, because that ain't good for nothing. Some people probably disagree with me too, because hey, you've seen guys who they assemble engines and just hammer it home. You know, I've heard stories of guys driving in a camshaft with a sledgehammer, having the block stand on end. That does not sound like something I would be excited about doing, but apparently there's more than one way for things to work, because people do that and it works. So let's do the dry test. Beautiful. I don't know how much we're going to record here, but we're going to record, and I'll figure out in editing if this is going to be multiple videos or just one video or what. But got a little bit of, got a lot of popcorn oil on that one. That's fine though. I'm not opposed to just pushing with my hand, but sometimes you could get your skin caught between the lip of that sleeve and whatever, and that's not a pleasant thing. So you can push with something else. Beautiful. Beautiful. Looks so pretty when it's got all new stuff in it. These are so much easier than that, like that cock shut when we do that. That is gonna be a thrill. Because a dry sleeve block, that's gonna involve like a freezer. Cooling parts overnight. Just no fun at all. Let's do the yep. I mean, these should all be identical, so it should make no difference. But I just like to double check because it ain't the first time the old Chinesium parts have been not gooder. I don't really know where these were made, but I'm doubting that they're super duper USA quality. But even if they are made here, it doesn't mean they're better quality, because a lot of our stuff in recent years is junk. So I guess that's a soapbox rant that some people would have, or we could have right now. But there was a time when if you bought something, you know, 30, 40 years ago, if it came from China, it was garbage. But now, a lot of the foreign tools and things we get are just as good as the American tools, because the American tools have went down in quality and different stuff. I mean, what I'm saying is the old hobo freight, there's a lot of that stuff that's just as reliable as the other things. There we go. So pretty. At some point it would probably be handy to take the hood off, but that gives you a place to stick. Uh-oh. Hey, that one wants to go together so bad it started out with the bag on. One more. One thing I noticed that I like about these sleeves, and I don't think the old ones had that. Do I have an old one handy here? I should. Yeah, well, they kind of got it. But the new one's got like a chamfer around here where it's going to make the rings slide in easier. I guess these old ones do kind of have it, but it's not quite as much. And let's do our dry hole test. Let's do our O-rings. All right, sleeve, go in with my blessing. We want you to behave, to do all the sleeve things necessary. Beautiful. Yes. All right, 6 new sleeves in. Now, before we do anything else, we're definitely going to you know the thing. We're going to get washers and bolts, and we are going to bolt this down. Gonna bolt this down so that bad things don't happen, you know? We don't want bad things to happen. And what the bad thing that would happen is when we're putting the rods and pistons in, sometimes it'll pop those sleeves up out of there, and we don't want that. Now that they are down in there, they do not need to be disturbed ever again. And nothing holds them in place until the head is on. So that's why we got to do that thing. Got to get some washers, bolt down. So let me go grab that. Now, if some of you were watching back when I tapped these holes and you thought, you idiot, you don't have to tap all those middle holes because the gas doesn't use them. Well, guess what? It's a pretty handy place to put the washer to hold the sleeves in, because it'll cover 2 of them. It doesn't take much to hold them in. You just don't want them to pop out of there. There. Lovely. Now we need to prep our rod and piston. I guess I'll just do one at a time, and we'll go down the line and we'll make this happen. It should be everything clean and ready to go. I cleaned it all up a while ago, so there shouldn't be any reason why this isn't ready to go together. I do need to get some good clean engine oil though, because that's what I'm going to use on all the big rotating parts to oil it. The same type of oil that I'll use, you know what I'm saying. Accumulating lots of stuff here. My machine shop went through these rods, put in 1-piece bushings, and they should be everything sized correctly. Everything's beautiful. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on new old stock rod nuts. I looked high and low, and the official replacement for the old time Castle nuts is these. And I was kind of hesitant about that, but everybody I've talked to said we're good to go. And I asked the machine shop guy what he thought about tightening, because I thought maybe the nylon would give it a false reading, and he said do whatever the book says, tighten them like normal. So I would opt to maybe be slightly on the tighter side, just because that way the, you know, like if it's 55 to 65, I would be closer to the heavier end to make up for the drag of the nylon, is what I'm thinking. But we will cross that bridge when we get there. Now this is actually the one that we used, like the pin we used to get the size. Need to get my clip. All right, we want to lube everything. Be not stingy with the lube. That's what we want. These should just press in there. Technical difficulties. I'm trying to do too many things at once here. There we go. So we want to be able to just push it in there so that that can float. We don't want to have to aggressively hammer it in, because then it's not going to do what we really want it to do. I think we are good to go. I'm trying to get you a good view, but this actually says front, and then the rods even say front. So you should be able to figure that out. Another handy situation that you can use, but I shouldn't even say that, because the next time you do it, it'll be opposite for some reason, but usually the side with the numbers faces towards the cam, and that's a good way to tell what's what. So, sure. Also, it should be noted, if your rods don't have consistent numbers or whatever, it really doesn't matter what hole you put what rod in, but what does matter is do not mix up the caps. The cap is forever mated to this rod. It is machined as one, so we do not want any sort of mixing up going on. These should be the same as what I took out. Standard, huh? Is that what I took out of them? I got them right back here. Let me check. Standard. I'm just doing a test fit to make sure that everything's right. Our oil hole lines up, because that would be a sad day if that didn't happen, you know. I'm just making sure of things before I go full bore. I really shouldn't show you any of this because I don't want you to do whatever I do and then your motor blows up and then you blame me that it's because I showed you how to do it. So don't do what I do. This is just for your entertainment. Laugh about how I'm doing it wrong. Ooh, I also need to go get my ring compressor. All right. I think we got everything we need. I like this style piston ring compressor. It works pretty darn good. The only thing is, my last one broke. So I had to buy a new one. But I had it for a long time. But what I like is you set the initial size, and then you what I want to say, then you fine tune it with this handle over here in a minute. At least that's what you did on my old one. Oh, I see what's going on. Sadness abounds right away. That's a zip tie. Boys, I think they that's too much. That's too much. I think they changed the way they made this from my other one, and I don't know if it's going to be as good or not. Let's do a test fit. We got to oil it up before we put it on. What I like about it is it's quick to put on and off. Once you get it set for what you're doing, it's pretty simple. And the way it's made, there's no danger of accidentally getting the ring compressor caught in anything, or those ridges keep her going. Now, the nice thing about this engine kit, I guess, is that the piston rings come put onto the grooves, so you don't have to do that. All you gotta do is oil. And I like to oil. I like to oil the crap out of it. Get on there. Oops. It's been a while since I've done this. Make sure the bearing is all lubed up. Make sure you really got the front to the front. Make sure your crank is in a place where it's going to play ball. Put that down in there, and we are going to tap it down in with the handle of my hammer wherever I put it. right, friends, I wondered where was going to be our stopping place, and I found it. I don't like what I found, but basically all these new nuts that I bought, new old stock, are not the right size. Let me show you if I get one back out. I've already put them away in disgust. I looked up the part number and I got new old stock K220, but look what I got. These, okay, so those that came are actually bigger, even in the physical size, and the ones that it takes are in fact 3/8, or they would take 9/16 to do it. So that is a super duper bummer. I was not happy with this style thing anyway, but now the fact that I can't even put it on, there's no way I will reuse these. Absolutely not. I will order 12 new ones, but I don't know. I'm beside myself on this. I'm frustrated because I've never had one that had these nylon lock nuts, and it's coming back to bite me immediately. So now I can't even put this the rest of the way together, which I hate, because now I got stuff half open and half not. So I will have to super duper careful, fragilistic, expialidocious, keep it oiled up and covered up. I might spray it with some, I've got some Zep. Maybe I want to spray it down with that, I don't know. But I'm bummed because this ain't gonna fly. I put one on there to hold the cap up, but I'm gonna start the other one just to hold everything in place. Maybe that would never come loose, but I sure don't want to find out when it's wound out at about 2,800 RPM. So I'm gonna have to we're gonna have to pause this project. This just absolutely sucks. I did not see this coming. I mean, I never thought to look because I ordered the right part number, and I thought sure it would all come correctly. So, well, oh, I see what happened. My rags keep blowing away because the fan is running behind me, and every time I lean over to get another rag, it blows the rag away that I just had. So that's cute. Let's lay some heavy stuff on there. Wonder where it went to. Thinking all the way to the ground? No. Nighty night. Expensive paperweight. That really sucks. I do not enjoy this, but there's nothing I can do. And if you're gonna say you should have checked ahead of time, I've asked about this stuff to the machine shop guy even. I'm kind of beside myself on this one. I don't know why this has been so difficult all the way around. It's been one thing after another with this project, and it's taking forever. And so I don't know. We're gonna leave this one here while I get more stuff. I'll put the pan back on to keep it clean, I guess. And this is just the way I'm gonna have to roll. I can't do anything about it. At least we were able to get the sleeves in so that our cleanup work there is not for nothing, you know. But I gotta pay extra shipping or whatever I gotta do and get these things right now, because I do not want it sitting here like this open. You know what I'm saying. So I guess until next time, that's where we're gonna leave this one.